again, with my years of doing this, I ventured into the world of drumline, marching band, indoor drum corps, all that good stuff. And with that, with my, again, training on that side, it allowed me to be able to break down the rhythms a little bit more in the sense where it can expand our drummers' understanding of the concept of time and concept of how much things we can fit in that small amount of time and still make it all fit like a Lego piece. Without the understanding of music theory and all that, it'd be very difficult to expand any of the stuff we do even more without the knowledge I had from that. Absolutely. Another genre would be also to answer the first question would be Latin percussion. Latin percussion, I love that. I love that stuff. And try to find ways to adapt that funky rhythms that's in Latin percussion into the Tahitian stuff. It fits hand in hand, especially with the skin instruments and stuff like that. With that, because with all of those different genres that I find as inspiration, our drumming does have a unique sound to it where it doesn't sound like your norm, but also still is within that realm of Tahitian drumming. So it's actually, again, if you haven't heard it, listen to Tahitian drumming and then listen to our stuff and the differences between the two, you'll see. Modern adaptations, because there's a lot more groups that also utilize more of, I guess you could say, like hip hop style beats. It does change the landscape of what the dancer is dancing to. Me personally, it does. There is a part of it where it can go overboard, and sometimes it's not done tastefully, which I'm not too much of a fan of, but to each his own. But for me personally, again, I just always want to make sure it's still respectful and it's still lack of better saying, not corny. I mean, that's kind of where our understanding that I like to teach with our drummers and our musicians, the differences between the different styles that are out there and incorporating into one. That's what makes us unique and makes our style that unique as well. We use 100% all traditional instruments. There is many different instruments that are utilized within the orchestra of the Tahitian drumming, but we do get all of our wood instruments straight from Tahiti. Our skin instruments although are made here in the United States, they are used with actual goat skin, calf skin as the batter head, and we have utilized more of a modern approach to some things like the resonant head in Tahiti. The resonant head for like the bass drums, for example, there's a little pin on one side. Those are there's like a tarp that is used there. So again, a lot of instruments you can have both skins on both sides, but that's where modern and traditional kind of blend is. There's ways to make it smarter now and make them last longer, because a calf or goat skin doesn't last nearly as long as a synthetic head would. Yeah, so more of late, the fatete, which is a single drum, kind of played like a tom, is typically made, again, in Tahiti, in the past, was made with skin. So that would, again, be either goat or calf. Nowadays, we've implemented more of the synthetic heads. We see a lot of groups and a lot of drumming groups utilize just any kind of tom heads that they see. But being in the drum line and being exposed to that world, understanding how we can crank these heads, I've been utilizing more of the marching tenor drum, marching quad heads, on our fatetes, just because again you can crank those bad boys as much as you want, and it because it's made for a drumline tuning, it can take a pretty decent tension on that. So that's where we kind of mixed the two. Me personally, the synthetic heads just project that much more. But although drumming on a true calf or true goat skin, there is a difference in the feel. Projection is everything, right? And once if you're the only guy playing that fatete amongst a whole orchestra of 5 or 6 other people playing the same instrument, you're by yourself, that projection does make a difference. For me, I'm pretty much the primary arranger and composer of a lot of our drumming pieces that we use for competition, as well as what the dancers dance to. And it's kind of a feel thing, right? When you're composing for dancers, how does that feel to the dancer? How does the drumming and the dancing correlate to make a piece that makes sense, right? So it all depends. If it's just a drumming competition where we are focusing and we are showcasing just the orchestra themselves, that's when we decide how do we push the envelope a little bit more. Is it with rhythms? Is it with incorporating other kinds of instruments in that nature? So again, it really all depends, and it really all depends from what adjudicators are out there as well. Some don't appreciate when you push the envelope, and some do. So in any kind of competition setting, it's however the judge is feeling at that moment in that day. But for us, it's what we feel encapsulates the theme that we are trying to portray. We don't, because again, as a primary composer and arranger of a lot of our stuff, we really don't get no pushback from all our guys here. If anything, they like to add to the creative process, and they want to add certain things that they think would feel, better from the instrument that they're playing, but still not compromise from the dancing side, or again, for the betterment of the whole orchestra. If we are competing as an orchestra on our own, how does that make sense, and how does that help, and does that help, or does it hurt our whole overall sound? Yeah, so again, it really just depends on what I'm creating it for. So if it's starting with, again, a lot of the stuff we do is primarily based for the dancing side of the whole from Tahiti, and it's all there. It really depends. So if I am composing for dancing, what are we dancing about? To everything that is being portrayed on the dancing side, there is a theme, or in Tahitian, tumu that is being portrayed. So depending on what it is. So for example, if it is about rain, how can we incorporate different sounding things that will feel like rain and thunder, right? So it really all depends. If it is for just the drummers, obviously there is still a theme that's being encompassed, but again, that's where we can go a little bit more, we can stray away from needing to only concentrate on what's going to feel good for a dancer, because sometimes if it looks cool and it sounds cool for us, it may not translate well to a dancer. So those are things we put in our back pocket to use for drumming competitions, so that we can showcase how difficult that is to do, or as well as, again, something that just won't translate well with dancing. Me personally, again, because I am 100% Filipino, I do hold a very high respect level for this, just because I do make the analogy and the comparison that if I were to saw someone of a different ethnicity doing tinikling, which is a Filipino dance, and they were to disrespect that, I would honestly feel very slighted seeing that. So again, because this isn't my culture, I do everything in my power to make sure that it is being respectful. So if it means reaching out to Tahiti or to other directors here in the area to kind of bounce my ideas and see if it is pushing the envelope a little too far. But that's kind of where we're at, just to make sure that we are always be staying respectful to, again, a culture that is not mine. Again, to that point is I wouldn't use a marching snare drum, or I wouldn't use a timbale, for example, in a section where it is 100% pure traditional instruments being utilized. Now, if we want to push our creativity a little bit, that's where is a marching snare drum really something that can be utilized where it's not disrespecting the sound, or can a timbale be brought in there without it being too overwhelming? Those are the things that, again, is it pushing the envelope a little too far? Sometimes, but if it is not being judged, if it's for a showcase and something like that, and we want to push our creativity a little bit, we may use it. But again, a lot of the stuff we do use is the actual true traditional Tahitian drums. Just the patterns and the combinations we use is what would be considered modern. Kind of just like how I alluded to, depending on if we're getting judged on the performance. Yeah, I mean, we would probably do things that I wouldn't do in a competition setting, but if it's just for a showcase where we want to experiment, but to a point where again still being respectful, we would utilize that. I have utilized marching bass drums, for example, in a piece that we did, and we still use Tahitian style rhythms on the marching bass drums. So there was still paying respects to it. Was it pushing the line a little bit? Sure, I think so. But at the end of the day, again, it was what we felt was creative but still being respectful, and that's where at these competitions we do get some critique time where the judges will tell us, hey, that was a little too far, or hey, that was great. Keep innovating. So yeah. Depends on the performance. If it is a small venue or something of that nature, amplification isn't necessary. Just like as you would treat a drum set, right? So if it is an arena, if it is a theater, or if it is a stage or coffee shop or whatever, if the drum set sounds great as it is acoustic, no amplification needed, great. Same concept with us. If it sounds great there, then we wouldn't mic it up. We also do run our own sound company. As an expensive hobby, I have a bunch of stuff that we utilize depending on the size of the venue. So we do mic depending on, again, size of the venue, what it is for. In terms of recorded material, everything we do is 100% live, from the live music played with guitars and Tahitian banjo, ukulele, bass guitar, all that good stuff. That's also all played 100% live. When it comes to any of the drums, it is not something that you can play with a backtrack. It is unlike drumline or indoor or drum corps in any kind of sense where a metronome is played at all times. It's almost very robotic. There's almost everyone has to be on that same feel as that metronome at all times. With Tahitian drumming, it's kind of a lot more in that jazz sense, right? Where you are, however everyone is feeling, we may play that one run as fast as possible and then realize, oh crap, it was too fast, and then next run we slow it down. So again, it is kind of more free in that sense. Unlike again where indoor drum line, drum corps, outdoor drum corps, how that is where everything needs to be on the point with the met. And pulling it out, you're still on that tempo. So it is a lot more less than that. It's definitely a lot more free. Yes and no. We've definitely done other events where we would drum, and there would be other ethnic drumming with us. There would either be African drumming or Latin percussion in any kind of way, or even marching percussion, right, with traditional marching band style stuff. We played with that kind, but in the sense of an actual performance where it is incorporated, not quite. We haven't done that. It's really hard to say. Again, because it is still a type of music, a type of art form that is just more recently now gaining more structure. Unlike rudimental drumming, how there's rudiments you must learn, or in pitched type of instrumentation scales, for example. There isn't that quite yet of that structure. There is more now than it has ever been. So in the future, do I see more traditional or hybrid? I feel it'll be a little bit of both. I see that there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to want to push their creativity a little bit, and they may crash and burn, or they might actually be onto something. So I see it growing. I see it changing. Again, just like how times are changing with music, it is definitely going to evolve as well. Just what I alluded to early on is the respect side of things. This is not our culture, unless you are 100% Tahitian coming through my doors and telling me that this is great and this is what you want to do with your culture. Hey, it's your culture, right? But also to understanding what is, again, still respectful. And obviously you wouldn't want to do rock music and play it in a classical environment, vice versa. There's definitely going to be the parameters, or what would you call, I guess in this case, what would be acceptable in traditional environments. So that's where I just hope that anyone that is learning, that is younger, to just always remember, always respect what came before you. Absolutely. With me being now involved with indoor percussion, indoor winter guard percussion, I'd like to somehow find a way to mesh the two together and bring the two worlds together. There's a lot of overlaps at both styles of percussion can blend together and make some crazy things. So eventually that'll be something I'd like to see and like to do. There may be a little bit of that in this year's winter percussion show that I have for Benicia Middle School that I'm teaching at now. But we'll see. We'll see. I first got involved as a dancer, and I would come to class early. There would be a class before the slot that I would be dancing in, and the drummers would be there. So I would go ahead and pick up some sticks and just follow along. And next thing you know, I felt more aligned with the drumming and music side than I did dancing, which was actually kind of to me at the time, dancing was huge. So to change it up and be a musician was huge. But now understanding that side and understanding the drumming side, it just makes what we do, again, a lot more cohesive and a lot more unique. Oh man, that's a loaded question, because drumming has got me through a lot. From doing it myself as a marching band, drumline guy, drumming as a kid, Tahitian drumming too, bringing all that, blending it all together, and now teaching it. I mean, it just has brought me a lot of relationships in my life too that I wouldn't think I would have without drums. As funny as that may sound, but drums has definitely gotten a lot of happy times in my life. So yeah. Me. It's me who decides it. It's again just based on what we're doing it for. Right? If it's for dancing, how clear and how can it be conveyed to the dancer where they understand, and can it hit the movements as sharp as possible. If it is just for our sake, if it is for a competition for us, or a showcase just for the drummers, for me typically is how hard can we make that beat sound or pay hit sound, is where my direction is. So again, it really just depends on the medium it's being played in. Not really, because a lot of these guys have been my student for, you know, going on for some of them 15 years, and for some of them, I'm really the only teacher they've had from on this side. They kind of trust what we do, and really don't have any kind of pushback. The biggest one I guess it gives me any pushback is my son, because he is a drummer and a musician in his own right now. He always tries to find ways to try to innovate, but that's where I am as the wiser one and his dad, to try to make sure he understands that there is still some respect that needs to be had when you're making these beats. Because with a lot of our connections being with Tahitian musicians, that's where I'm able to still connect and understand, you know, a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm still a forever student, right? I don't know everything. I'm not one to say I am a Tahitian drumming master or anything like that, but that's where I want to learn a lot more background to what I'm playing, right? There's still some things where I'm playing, I'm making these beats, I'm making these pehe, playing these traditional pehe, not really understanding where that originated from. And I'm a big guy on history, big guy on paying respects to what has come before me. So on that side of things, just making sure that it is going along the lines of respect always. Man, I just want them to, again, I want them to feel the groove. If there's anything that I want anyone to feel, is that our drumming and our music is just so groovy that you can't help but move your shoulders or bob your head, because it just makes you want to move. I think that is, again, my end goal always when we make these kind of drum, or any kind of drum pieces or anything like that, is how can I make my dancers move, or how can I make you as an audience member move? Not much. As long as I think right now everyone is very much on the same path of how can they play these rhythms as clean as possible or as fast as possible. I think that's kind of where everyone is at, until a new style or new way of playing a specific pehe or beat is normalized. There's really going to be no major changes. Again, it's kind of now just starting to gain its structure. So because it's finally gaining that structure, everyone is now finally grasping onto that structure. So if anything, it's just everyone's now going to be on the same playing field, understanding that A means A, B means B, C means C, and so on and so forth. Again, just respecting where everything came from. Know that what you're learning, again, like in martial arts, someone can't just come in and become a black belt. You have to learn everything that has come before, everything that leads up to being a black belt. Same with the Tahitian drumming, because there are a lot of things that come before that, before you're able to play as fast as possible, play the hardest things that we would say hard as possible. You must know how to get to that point. So again, it's just paying the respects and always understanding what the fundamentals are is key to becoming a great drummer, great musician, either be Tahitian drumming, Tahitian music, or any music drumming at that nature.